And less than an hour ago, the Philadelphia Health Department announced that Kada Scott died of a gunshot wound to the head. While we know how she died, there's still so many questions about why she was killed.
Her mom, her papa too. I want to thank the doctor, the hospital, everyone previously on her roster who messed up. Now a chance for her not optional. That's my queen. I want to go to space just so I could give her a star. I know she's probably tired of running through my mind. I gotta get her a car. If you got any letters or mail for her, just send it to me. Because she lives in my heart. She brings everything to the whole table. She's not just a snack, she's the whole label. That's not just my baby, that's the whole cradle. If your girl is all that in a bag of chips, then mine is all that in a whole potato. And so what if she's a snorer? I adore her. And when she's away off to sleep in her bed, I reread our messages and everything that we said, just so I can still at least speak to her in my head. I love being with her. I'm always smiling. You should see my whole face. I wanted with her to where in old age, people always ask, you got a girl? I say, I got a soulmate. She is to me, I know, right? Basically. I want to thank God for making her possible.
This is Kada Scott, 23 years old, excited, trying on the dress she was going to wear as a bridesmaid in her friend's wedding. Look at her smile. Look at that joy. This was supposed to be her future. Her friend Priya met Kada at Penn State University. They stayed close after graduation. And when Priya got engaged, Kada was one of the first people she asked to stand beside her. The dress was ready. The plans were set. Kada was looking forward to celebrating her friend's big day. But on October 4th, 2025, something happened that changed everything.
It's looking, I don't know if you can pan over there, but you'll see how dark it is. There's no monitoring. You just found a body over here, so why don't you have this entire place illuminated and have it monitored? You have all of these areas that should be cleaned up, should have 24-hour surveillance, and they're not. And my question to elected city officials is, what are you doing to ensure the safety of all residents, not just when something like this happens?
Investigators have revealed text messages that show what Kada was saying in the hours before she lost her life. Messages that raise questions about what their relationship really was, and evidence that shows at least 3 people were involved in what happened to her. The Philadelphia medical examiner has ruled Kada Scott's death a homicide. Keon King, the 21-year-old who was already charged with kidnapping and conspiracy, is now facing murder charges, along with 19 other criminal counts including abuse of corpse, robbery, arson, and firearm violations. Law enforcement sources have confirmed that Kada Scott was shot, and investigators say she lost her life within 20 minutes of getting into King's car that night. But here's what makes this case even more disturbing. Police found evidence of a house where King went after. A house where 2 women live. A house where investigators found contractor bags, a hammer, and ammunition. Those women were detained, questioned, and released. But the question remains, what did they know? And were they the accomplices caught on surveillance helping to move Kada's body? Let me walk you through what we now know. Because court documents have revealed a timeline that shows this wasn't random, this was coordinated, and multiple people played a role. October 3rd, 2025, just before midnight, Keon King stole a black 2008 Hyundai Accent. The car belonged to a food delivery worker who left it running on the 6,600 block of Sprague Street. King took that car, and investigators say he used it specifically for what he was planning to do the next night. October 4th, 2025, 10:07 a.m., 12 hours before Kada would disappear. She sent a text message to a number linked to Keon King. The message said, "Kidnap me again." King replied, "Better be up too." They made plans to meet later that night. Now investigators say they don't know what Kada meant by "kidnap me again." Was she referencing something that happened before? Was it playful language between them? Some kind of inside joke or code? Authorities have said there's no indication of any previous incident involving the two. but that text exists, and it shows they were planning to meet. What we do know is that on October 4th, Kada received a dozen phone calls from a number linked to King. Court documents show that King texted her, letting her know he had a new number. Kada asked who it was. King replied with one word, Kel, apparently a nickname he went by, and then they continued making plans. The final text exchange happened at 10:09 p.m. Kada wrote, CM when you hear. Investigators say CM stands for call me, meaning call me when you arrive. That was the last text Kada Scott would ever send. Now here's where the timeline gets critical. Because a co-worker of Kada's at the Terrace at Chestnut Hill, the assisted living facility where she worked, told police something important about that night. Around 10 p.m., the co-worker said she saw Kada outside the building. She was on the phone, and she appeared upset. The witness overheard Kada saying, I can't believe you're calling me about this, followed by an expletive. So Kada was arguing with someone on the phone. She was frustrated. She was upset about something, and shortly after that call, a witness saw her get into a dark-colored SUV that immediately drove off. Now we don't know who Kada was talking to during that phone call. Personally, I don't think it was King, because of the nature of the conversation she was having with the person over the phone, but I stand to be corrected. It could have been someone else, maybe the person she had been on a date with earlier that night at Topgolf, maybe her partner, or maybe a friend. The police have her phone records, and I'm sure they know exactly who called her at that time, but they haven't said anything publicly yet. What we do know is what happened next. At 10:15 p.m., cell phone data shows that Kada Scott and Keon King were together near her workplace. This is based on the location pings from both of their phones. It would be the last time Kada was seen alive. At 10:24 p.m., 9 minutes later, Kada Scott's phone went offline. Law enforcement sources say that's when she was shot. Within 20 to 30 minutes of going missing, Kada Scott lost her life. Let that sink in. From the time she got into that car to the time she was gone. 20 minutes. Whatever happened in that vehicle happened fast. 4 minutes after her phone went dark, at 10:28 p.m., surveillance cameras captured the stolen black Hyundai Accent parking at Aubrey Recreation Center, right next to Ada Lewis Middle School, where her body would eventually be found. And that car stayed there for 2.5 days, with Kada's body inside. But King didn't just park the car and leave. Cell phone tracking shows what he did next. And this is where we learn about the house. The accomplices, the evidence that shows other people were involved. Investigators tracked King's phone to the 5500 block of Belmar Terrace in southwest Philadelphia. Police executed a search warrant on that house, and what they found raises serious questions. Inside the home, officers recovered contractor bags, a hammer, ammunition. Items that could be used in exactly the kind of crime Kada Scott's body showed evidence of. 2 women lived at that house. Police detained them, questioned them, and then released them. King was not at the house when police searched it. But here's what's significant. King's cell phone was tracked making multiple trips between that Belmar Terrace house and the area where Kada's body was found, back and forth, multiple times. So what was happening during those trips? Was he going back to get help? Was he getting supplies? Were those women involved in planning or covering up what happened? We don't know yet. But the fact that police found contractor bags and his phone pinged there repeatedly, that's not a coincidence. Then on October 5th, the day after Kada disappeared, surveillance footage shows something crucial. At 11:39 p.m., King's gold Toyota Camry was caught on camera returning to the Aubrey Recreation Center parking lot. The same lot where the stolen Hyundai with Kada's body had been sitting for over a day. The footage shows 2 people getting out of that Toyota, which means someone else drove that car away after dropping them off. A third person, an accomplice we haven't identified yet. And then those 2 people who got out, they waited for 4 hours, just standing there in that parking lot, waiting until almost 4 a.m. when the area would be completely empty. At 3:56 a.m., surveillance cameras captured those 2 individuals approaching the Hyundai Accent. They opened it, and they removed what court documents describe as a heavy object consistent with a human body. They carried that object toward the wooded area behind Ada Lewis Middle School, the same area where Kada Scott's remains would be found 2 weeks later after they moved the body. The Hyundai was seen driving out of the parking lot. And on October 7th, 3 days after Kada disappeared, Philadelphia police responded to a vehicle fire. That black Hyundai Accent burned, intentionally set on fire to destroy evidence. The car was later compacted at a junkyard. So we have at least 2 other people helping move Kada's body. We have a third person driving the Toyota away. And we have 2 women at a house where King's phone kept pinging and where police found suspicious items. How many people were involved in this? And why haven't the accomplices been charged yet? Philadelphia Police Commissioner Kevin Bethel addressed this directly during a community town hall. He said,
"We continue to pursue anyone who helped, who concealed, who participated in this act. We will not stop."
They know there are accomplices, they're working to identify everyone involved, and they're building cases to hold each person accountable. On October 22nd, 2025, 18 days after Kada disappeared, the Philadelphia District Attorney filed murder charges against Kieran King. He's also now facing nearly 20 total charges, including abuse of corpse, robbery, theft, arson, tampering with evidence, causing or risking catastrophe, possession of instruments of crime, and multiple firearm violations. King is being held on $500,000 cash bail, and he's due back in court for arraignment on the murder charge. The community has been waiting for this moment, waiting for the word murder to be attached to King's name, because everyone knew. From the moment Kada's body was found, everyone knew this wasn't just kidnapping. This was something far worse. And now with these murder charges filed, the focus shifts to one question: who else will be charged? Because the evidence is clear. Multiple people were involved. The surveillance footage shows at least 2 people moving Kada's body. Someone drove that Toyota Camry away. King's phone pinged repeatedly at a house where 2 women lived, and those women were questioned and released. So are charges coming for them? The district attorney won't say yet. They're calling it an active and ongoing investigation. But the community wants answers, and they want justice. On October 23rd, city officials held a community safety town hall at True Light Fellowship Church in East Mount Airy. It was just blocks away from where Kada's body was found, and the room was packed. Residents came with grief, with anger, with questions, with demands for accountability. Mayor Sherelle Parker opened by making something clear. She would not be discussing details of the investigation or Kada's cause of death during that meeting, out of respect for the family. But what she did promise was that the city would address the safety concerns that Kada's case had brought to the surface. Philadelphia Police Commissioner Kevin Bethel spoke passionately about his officers and the work that went into this investigation. He said,
That was important. Recovering Kada's body was not the outcome we had hoped for. But we are grateful that we were able to bring her home.
And then he said something that the community needed to hear.
The greatest asset for us in this investigation was you.
The tips, the searches, the community members who wouldn't stop looking, who kept Kada's name and face in the public eye, who pushed for answers. That's what helped bring her home. But the meeting wasn't just about praising the investigation. Residents had real concerns, and they weren't holding back. People stood up and talked about the vacant properties all over the neighborhood, about Ada Lewis Middle School, sitting there abandoned for over a decade, about how that building had become a place where something terrible could happen and no one would know. Councilmember Cindy Bass has been calling for the school district to demolish Ada Lewis Middle School. She sent a letter to Superintendent Tony Watlington demanding that leaders tear down the vacant building. She said it's dangerous, it's an eyesore, and it's a reminder of tragedy for this community. The school district released a statement saying they're reviewing protocols for the former school, but residents want more than reviews. They want action. They want that building gone. Other people at the town hall brought up systemic issues. One resident talked about the need for a black alert similar to Amber Alerts, specifically for missing black women and girls. Because too often, those cases don't get the same attention, the same urgency, the same resources. And then Kada's friend, priest spoke. Kada was supposed to be the chief bridesmaid for her wedding.
It hurts because I kept replaying this in my mind that she didn't even stand a chance. You can give her a week, you can give her a few days, you can give her anything. Everyone was so hopeful that we would find her and she would be alive.
She was the type of person that she said she was going to do it. She was going to do it. She followed through all the way. And that is just something that I'm really, really proud of her for.
She could do anything she put her mind to. Kada knew exactly who she was, and nobody could tell her otherwise.
And then Priya made a plea. She said young people need education about violent offenses, about harassment.
About violent offenses, about harassment, about stalking, how things progress, how to navigate and truly identify dangerous individuals.
Make sure at this moment we lift up the family of Kada Scott.
I understand why we're here. For a lot of us, it's about the tragedy that just happened and the trauma that we all felt.
The kidnap me again text haunts everyone who's followed this case. What did she mean? Was their relationship romantic? Was it something else? Police say there's no indication of a previous incident, but that language, kidnap me again, suggests familiarity, suggests history, suggests something between them that we don't fully understand yet. Some people have theorized they were involved romantically, that kidnap me was their playful way of saying, come get me, or take me away from here. That it was intimate language between two people who had some kind of relationship. Others wonder if there was a previous incident, if King had done something to her before that she didn't report. If this was a pattern she was trapped in, we don't know. And we may never know the full context of that text, unless King decides to explain it. But what we do know is that Kada willingly made plans to meet him. She texted him throughout the day, she got into his car, and whatever happened in that vehicle, whether it was an argument that escalated, whether it was planned violence, whether something triggered him, it ended with Kada being shot. The co-worker's account is important here because Kada was upset on that phone call before she left work. She was frustrated with someone, arguing with someone. Was it King? Was it someone else? If it was someone else, that means she was already in a heightened emotional state when King arrived, maybe vulnerable, maybe distracted. Or if it was King she was arguing with on the phone, why did she still get in his car? What was said that made her go anyway? Despite being upset, these are questions Kada's family will live with forever. The what-ifs, the if-onlys, the moments they'll replay trying to understand how their daughter, their sister, their niece ended up in that shallow grave. At the town hall, one community member said something that resonated with everyone in that room. This was someone that we all in some way or another connected to. Because Kada wasn't just a statistic. She was somebody's friend, somebody's coworker, somebody's classmate, somebody who smiled at you in the hallway, somebody who posted on social media about her dreams and her business and her life. She was real, and her loss is felt deeply. The memorial outside Ada Lewis Middle School continues to grow. Flowers, balloons, cards, candles, stuffed animals. People who knew Kada and people who never met her keep adding to it, because this community refuses to let her be forgotten. City Council member Anthony Phillips organized a donation drive for Kada's family. People can bring gift cards for meal delivery services, personal care items, non-perishable food, self-care items like toiletries and relaxation products. The donations will go to Kada's mom, her dad, and her high school-aged sister who are trying to navigate this unimaginable grief. And starting at True Light Fellowship Church, they're offering resources for residents who need someone to talk to, counseling, support, a space to process the trauma of what happened in their neighborhood. Because this isn't just about Kada's family, this entire community is traumatized. People don't feel safe. Parents are scared. Young women are looking over their shoulders. And everyone wants to know if all this could have been prevented. And now the focus is on making sure what happened to Kada doesn't happen to anyone else. Community members at that town hall talked about the need for better domestic violence resources, for programs that teach people how to recognize warning signs, for a system that doesn't let violent offenders walk free because victims are too scared to testify. Someone suggested creating a law called the Kada Scott Law, legislation specifically focused on protecting Black women going through domestic violence, making sure they know the community is with them, making sure the system works for them instead of failing them. Because here's the reality. We don't know the full nature of Kada and King's relationship. We don't know if this was domestic violence. We don't know if there were previous incidents she didn't report. But we do know that a young woman texted someone, made plans to meet them, got in their car, and lost her life within 20 minutes. And we know that person had already shown a pattern of violence against women, had already been arrested for kidnapping and assault, had already demonstrated that he was dangerous, and the system let him go. So yes, the community is angry, and yes, they're demanding change, because this didn't have to happen. Kada should still be here. She should be trying on that bridesmaid dress for real. She should be at her friend's wedding celebrating love and joy and the future. Instead, her family is planning a funeral and a community is mourning. The investigation continues. Murder charges have been filed against Keon King, but the work isn't done. Police are still pursuing the accomplices, still trying to identify everyone who helped move Kada's body, everyone who knew what happened and stayed silent. Everyone who played any role in this conspiracy. Commissioner Bethel made it clear. They will not stop until everyone involved is held accountable. The two women at the Belmar Terrace house were questioned and released, but that doesn't mean they're cleared. It means the investigation is ongoing. It means detectives are building their case, making sure when charges come, they stick. The person who drove that gold Toyota Camry away from the scene, they're looking for them. The two people caught on surveillance moving Kada's body, if they weren't those two women, then who were they? And the anonymous tipster who called police saying go back, they missed her with that specific location. Was that someone with a conscience, or was it one of the accomplices trying to make sure Kada was found? All of these questions are being investigated. All of these threads are being followed, and the Philadelphia Police Department has made it clear. If you were involved, if you knew, if you helped in any way, they're coming for you. Anyone with information is urged to call Philadelphia Police at 215-686-TIPS. Even if you think it's small, even if you're not sure it matters, every detail helps. Every piece of information gets investigators closer to the complete truth, and the community needs that complete truth. Because right now there are too many unanswered questions. Too many pieces of this puzzle that don't fit yet. Too many people who seem to have been involved but haven't been charged. The conspiracy charges against King confirm that others were part of this. The surveillance footage proves it. The cell phone data proves it. The evidence at the Belmar house proves it. So where are those charges? Who else is going to be held accountable? The community is watching, waiting, demanding justice not just for Kada, but for every woman who's been harmed by someone with a pattern of violence. For every case that got dropped because a victim was too scared to show up. For every young woman who trusted the wrong person and paid with her life. But through all of this darkness, the community is also trying to hold on to light. Kada's light. At the prayer service and balloon release held at Ada Lewis Middle School, a community leader said,
Kada Scott will always be to me and to us the forever Miss Philadelphia.
Community members vowing to keep Scott's memory alive.
We're going to have a law called the Kada Scott Law so that women, Black women, all women who are going through domestic violence will know that we are with them.
The memorial outside Ada Lewis Middle School remains. People keep adding to it. Flowers, balloons, notes telling Kada she's loved, she's missed, she mattered. And she did matter. She does matter. Kada Scott was a daughter, a sister, a friend, a businesswoman, a caregiver, a young woman full of potential who deserved to live the life she was building. She deserved to stand in that bridesmaid dress at her friend's wedding. She deserved to keep growing her beauty business. She deserved to keep helping elderly residents. She deserved to keep pursuing her dreams. Instead, she's gone, and a family is left with memories and grief and questions that may never be fully answered. But what we can do is make sure her name isn't forgotten. Make sure the people who took her life face full justice. Make sure the system changes so the next young woman has a better chance. Make sure Kada's light continues to shine through the kindness we show each other. King is facing murder charges and 19 other criminal counts. He's being held on $500,000 cash bail. The investigation continues. More charges are expected. More people may be arrested, and the community will keep watching. Keep pushing. Keep demanding that everyone involved answers for what they did. Because Kada Scott deserved better. She deserved to live. She deserved her future. And the least we can do now is make sure she gets justice. Rest in peace, Kada Scott. Forever Miss Philadelphia. Your community will never forget you.